All right, so I quickly wanted to make a video on a new Spirit Blossom Morgana Exalted skin, which is being sold for $250. And there seems to be quite a few issues regarding the skin, and Riot hasn't really responded to any of it. They haven't responded to player feedback or player concerns or any of that. So I really wanted to address some of these issues in this video. So, as you all may know, Riot has offered players to give feedback, and they actually invited us to do so via this bug and feedback thread. Now, usually feedback is gathered to get insight into whatever players think about a certain skin, how it comes across, what might be missing, are there perhaps any errors that need addressing, are there any mistakes that might have happened, are there enough features included, animations, and things like that. And companies usually do this so they can address and fix issues. Add missing features, polish the visual appearance, and add missing effects, and things like that. Pre-release. But nope, not in this case. Which is quite a shame because I think our queen really needs it and deserves it. All right. So players were willing to give feedback, and countless feedback was received from players. There were hundreds of comments worth of opinions, suggestions, and actually quite well thought through constructive feedback. Issues regarding the skin were being raised. Dozens of Reddit posts were created just to provide Riot with information about the skin, coming from direct testing or reviewing available footage. And it all fell on deaf ears, unfortunately. Now, I actually wanted to show you guys firsthand and in depth how broken the skin actually is in terms of quality, clarity, features, transformations, and all of that good stuff. So let's jump right into it and look at this beautiful $250 monstrosity very closely. But before I begin, I am playing and have been playing Morgana quite frequently and for well over a decade and earned over 1.5 million mastery points. I do own every single Morgana skin except for three or four chroma skins, which you have to buy with Riot points. But I think generally I can speak to the topic of what a good skin for Morgana might look like. And spoiler, this one ain't it. All right. So let's see what the skin actually offers since I bought it for $250. All right. So um, the first issue regarding the skin comes in the shape of Morgana's animated splash. So let's have a look. When you're entering a game, selecting Morgana. All right. So somehow Morgana's animated splash art is very low quality and appears to be quite blurry, not high definition at all. At first, I was like, why my graphics are freaking bad, but apparently it's only her splash art that screams, get me back into the development room. I hear you. We all wanted love, believe me. The splash art during the loading screen, as you saw, is quite clean, and as you'd expect. Yeah, it's a shame that it's not animated at all. All right, so the second thing is when she enters the rift, there is a very nice animation where she flies in. Unfortunately, it's a bit weird. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so this is a game I recently had, and you can see here when she enters the rift in a few seconds, she has this quite nice animation there. Unfortunately, it's longer than the 15 seconds that you have when you want to invade, for instance. You have to, just break the animation, which is quite a minor detail, but I think it should have been taken into consideration, just given that it's so much money and, you know, the animation should kind of fit into the 15 seconds window that you have until you can leave the base and get ready to invade. Okay, so this skin is supposed to be worth $250, and I want to stress this as often as I can. And it already offers much less than previous Exalted skins, and most noticeably a third form. So let's start with her default. Her default model looks, at least in my opinion, quite bland and not well defined. It looks plain, there is not much detail, not really that interesting, just a plain dress with a bow that you can or can't see quite well while moving. Um, you know, in her splash art at least, the dress looks quite tailored to her body, but in game it looks atrocious for that amount of money that you have spent. Okay, I want to keep that in mind. It looks quite oversized. The dress doesn't really fit her. You can't see her legs, not even when entering a brush, which you can normally see with other Morgana skins. And even with her default model, I can show you right here. Enter a brush, and there's nothing. You can see her legs. Perhaps it's because they are not uh, finished, as you were able to see in one of the feedback Reddit posts. All right, let's get back. This model, uh, it lacks detail. Simple as that. It lacks detail, it lacks polish and prestige as well as posture. Like, look at her running animation. Wait a second. Let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, when she is running with her boots, I have her on full speed. Um, when she's at full speed, she leans heavily forward. Like, I don't know, this posture, it looks weird. It really does look weird. The only thing missing is a stick, like she's a grandma or something, and she wants to rush to get the bus or something like that. But this looks just, it doesn't look like Morgana. It doesn't look awe-inspiring or like I don't know, power walk or whatever. It does look weird. And without the boots, it looks even worse. But one thing I wanted to show you first, because it's quite funny, uh, but not in a good way. When she's flying out of base, her right foot makes some kind of twitchy movement, uh, as if her ankle would break. Let me show you. It looks quite funny. You don't even have to teleport. Look, on the reflection, you can see like, da-dup, da-dup. Let me show you again. So look at the bottom. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Oh, my ankle will break. Whoops, whoops. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That's what I mean. So let's get rid of all of the movement speed and let's see her slow walk, which is even more atrocious. All right. Okay. So, look how arched back her model is. It looks like her spine would break in half a second or at any moment. Like it looks weird. It's so heavily arched back. Look at this. Look at this posture. It doesn't look natural. It looks I don't know, as if she would break in half basically. This doesn't look like any uh, like not even a single person or whoever would walk like this. It looks weird and it looks out of place. Uh, you know, it's like when you're slow, you almost break it back because it's arched back so heavily, and when you're speedy, you're like falling forward or something. Who came up with these poses for $250 again? It looks so unpolished and unfinished. This looks like early development at best. Like, what is going on? Okay, let's get to the second form, but first, let's go through all the skills. Morgana, please be quiet for a sec. One, dumb. Yes. Nice. Can you please turn? All right. All right. So the second form, as you can see, is the red demonish form. Although I don't really notice the difference because the change in tone, it's so insignificant between these two models. So her second form is basically just a chroma version. Let's be real. As you can see, nothing changes at all. The skill effects, animations, dumb, dumb, dumb. you know, everything stays the exact same. Um, this is not a different model or form. Also, what are these? What are these funny bunny ears? Are these supposed to be horns? They have some kind of red outline. They are not animated at all. This looks kind of funny, but not in a good way either. Anyway, I want to emphasize to Riot, a chroma skin is not a different model, ever. And to gaslight players and customers into believing otherwise is quite a scam and unethical. I was at least hyped that Morgana would get a set of different forms, uh, but this is quite a load of poopies, actually, because it's just a chroma skin. And the supposed third form appears for a whole 3 seconds during the ultimate, and it doesn't change when you are in her second form or the default form, it stays the same. And it's again for 3 seconds. And of course, whoops, drum roll, it's another chroma version of her default model. There is nothing more to say, I think. What's also weird when using the ultimate, it turns blue. Even when you've transformed into the red form, the ultimate remains bluish. And this is weird. Weird, 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 as Rachel Zegler would say. And why? When she's turning to her default color palette, what's the point? Why is she doing that? It makes no sense. And in game, it can be quite distracting as well because of the difference in color again. The mask thing is another new feature that serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. It doesn't do anything. It does nothing for you. You don't change forms when switching masks, which would be a cool feature actually. You don't change anything of significance. The only thing that it does is the Q turns into the mask you've chosen, and the chosen mask appears when you use your ultimate, like this. Bam, bam, above Morgana, and then above her target. Nothing else changes. Guys, that's simply not a feature worth noting in a custom feature set because it does absolutely nada. It doesn't change your form, it doesn't upgrade anything, skill effects or visuals don't really change from Morgana's skill set. Nothing really changes, and that's frustrating. Also, skill effects should be visually different for a skin of that specific tier. Like, why are we getting chroma versions of skill visuals, animations, and interactions? This is just lazy design, and it's uninspired. And when looking at Morgana's wings, all I hear from them is, we want to die and we fall off her back. Guys, Morgana has 6 wings. Why is Morgana getting some fluff behind her ears, some crooked branches for her main wings that are so thin, and leaves attached to them that are like few and far between? These wings look and feel lackluster, they feel unfinished, they lack fullness, beauty. Uh, there have been so many beautiful splash arts and designs been made, and all of them look better than these. Uh, they look like lightning struck branches. All 6 wings should be used for this $250 skin, not some ethereal wisps. Anyway, it just looks awful. There's nothing more to say. The skin lacks a lot of individuality. It feels overall lackluster. It feels unfinished, rushed. Certain animations have been recycled entirely, like her death animation. Players are unable to toggle between her default and her chroma form. The transitions sometimes feel off, and there are weird interactions with champions like Mel, who can trigger her transformation when shielding herself and rooting Morgana with her own Q. And this happened quite recently in one of my games. I can show you. All right, guys, so this is a scenario that happened in one of my recent games. Just have a look what happens. All right, so Morgana changed her form due to Mel, and it's not intended at all. And as you can see, her model, it's not fully finished because usually when you transform, there is some glow, some red glow. This looks just plain. It's not what her form should look like. Let's get a little bit more. See, she turned back. She even turned back. I forgot about that, which was quite weird as well. Okay, guys. So with all of that in mind, I don't understand, and believe me, I've tried, how Riot felt comfortable ignoring all of the feedback that has been provided by dedicated players and Morgana mains, and released this abomination of an unfinished skin, and felt emboldened to charge customers $250 worth of cash. Don't get me wrong, this skin, if it was a legendary skin or some lower tier skin, I would be totally fine, but not for $250. I think Riot, I don't know, are they out of touch or something? But $250 is a lot of money for so many people. And to give them a product like this that is lackluster, that feels and looks unfinished, that has so many different errors attached to them, so many malfunctions, um, features that aren't even real features, uh, forms, different forms that aren't even different forms that are just chroma versions. Uh, you know, all of this brings me to a much more legal based issue as well, because all of these severe inconsistencies and significant differences between already existing exalted skins and Morganas, they raise both quality and transparency concerns, given the substantial investment and the official positioning of exalted skins, as I can show you, as hyper-exclusive skins that push design and tech capabilities to make the best possible skin. There are some broad implications, including how exalted skins are marketed and communicated to Riot's global player base. There are several discrepancies in both quality and feature set when comparing this Morgana skin to previous exalted skins. And as per Riot's official description, exalted skins are hyper exclusive and they are meant to push the boundaries of design and tech to deliver the best possible cosmetic experience. And unfortunately, Morgana's exalted skin doesn't seem to meet this standard when compared to previous releases. You know, the previous released exalted skins. And all exalted skins are sold at the same premium price point, $250, and are marketed under the same high expectations. To ensure fairness and clarity, there actually should be clear, publicly available guidelines. Just to outline what features each exalted skin must include. And as a consumer, I can say that these inconsistencies in quality create a quite confusing customer experience, uh, and they are also in conflict with EU consumer protection law and guidelines, which require transparency and consistency in digital product offerings. And, when thinking about it, some legendary tier skins, such as, for example, Coven Morgana or Coven Evelyn, they offer more features and content than this Exalted release. For example, specific voice lines when using their abilities, Q, WER, or when purchasing certain items from the shop, a discrepancy that raises concerns about the consistency and value of such top tier cosmetic content. Uh, you know, there should be consistency, there should be standards for that amount of money. And when creating a new tier, especially a tier that requires players to spend $250, there shouldn't be inconsistent standards. It also makes no sense that a bunch of previously released Exalted skins have more features than the newest one. This doesn't make any sense. And Riot is treading in dangerous waters, I think, and might find themselves legally liable as well. Because even not even, but especially um, Riot Games, they have to adhere to standards and to guidelines and to laws. Right. So this is basically the end of my video. I'm sure I haven't been able to address every single issue there is with the skin, but I do hope that Riot takes this into consideration, takes a second or third look at the skin, makes the appropriate adjustments so the price of the skin is worth the price, and features are included that have been included for previous Exalted skins. The standards should be consistent. And I'm very passionate about this, not just as a Morgana main, but also as a customer, because you should receive consistent value, and it shouldn't be like, okay, this exalted skin gets these 10 features, this exalted skin gets 7 features, but some fluff around, like some butterflies or whatever. Things that you don't even notice that much in game, like the flowers or whatever when Morgana kills someone. Like these are things that you don't really notice. You could notice the masks if, for example, they had some greater purpose. But right now, they don't really do much. They don't really feel impactful as well. Like not when using the Q, not when using the R. They're just there. You don't really recognize them. When you're throwing a Q, there are some vines. Why is there no mask, for example, that entraps the enemy? Just some three of vines that go up. Like, okay, no, I'm not gonna start anything new. But I do hope that Riot reconsiders and makes the appropriate adjustments. So thank you all for watching, for listening, and oh, Jesus. All right, guys. So thank you all so much for listening again. And I do hope that next time Necrit is going to make a video on topics like these because this took like hours and hours and hours. But when you're passionate about something, I guess you do whatever it takes. So bye, everyone.